Hey, this is Jane. How are you? I'm so glad that you dropped by. You found the keys on the Success website. Good for you. So you're here. So let's get started in getting improved results. And in my message to you that brought you here, I wanted to let you know that there's 5 steps. Some of the things we're going to look at is what's the clarity of our direction? And then all important, develop an attitude that takes you where you want to be and what you want to achieve, and then consistency of those actions. And we'll talk a lot about the all-important commitment. It's vital. It's vital to get what you want. Let's look at the logical future. For most of us, we think history repeats. The future is an extension of the past. So we can easily see our past, our present, and our future, but you can will the future to be anything you want it to be. All right, the 5 steps. You can get results. You can get them now. You can get them in the future. And here's the 5 steps. Step 1, get clear. What is it that you want? If you don't know what you want, you'll settle for anything, and much less sometimes. Step 2, prioritize. Step 3, and again, vitally important, committing. Commit to the goal. So as soon as you figure out what it is you want, and in what order, we've got to commit. And only after we commit can we start taking the action. Sometimes we make a mistake of doing a lot of planning and trying to do little action steps, and then we set goals and we don't meet them and we beat ourselves up. And most likely it's because we didn't decide to succeed. We didn't commit to the results we said we wanted. Step 5, gain and keep an attitude that leads to results. And in a little bit we'll talk about attitude. It's not just perhaps what you're thinking about, so I'll leave it at that for now. So what are you waiting for? We're going to define what you want, but we're not going to worry how we're going to get it. Probably goes against all your learning and convictions, doesn't it? It's more important to define what we want and commit to it. So I actually took that line from a Van Halen song. What are you waiting for? Catch your magic moment right now. So step 1, we got to get clear. What is it that you want? You know, you can have anything you want. You really can. So I'm going to challenge you to get a piece of paper, get a notepad, get a journal, whatever it is, and make a list of your 30 wants. Now, these are non-negotiable. If it's something that, well, I could take it or leave it, I don't want it on your list. Neither do you. Now, I want you to consider these 8 areas. I want you to consider what you want in your business life and money, in your finances. Do you want to be a millionaire? Do you want to make $8,000 more a month? What is it? What is it that you really, truly want? For me, it's that residual income. What about health? What do you want in your health? And it might be real easy to say lose 10 pounds, but maybe what you want to think about are non-negotiable things that say I'm disease-free, I'm lean and strong, and so on. Friends and fun. What do you want to include? Both the people you want to be with and the activities you want to do. You saw on my first page a picture of me standing in Utah with glorious mountains behind me. What are your friends and fun? What are those non-negotiable things that you want? And what about family? I like to separate the two, the friends and the family, because a lot of times when you're trying to sort this all out, you're saying, oh, well, I should put my family first. And we're not going to have shoulds in this list. We're going to have wants. That's why I separate them here. But what about your career development? And I list this separately from business because your career development, whether you're working a full-time W-2 job, you have your own business, your professional in some other manner. Career development. This is where you're using your gifts in the world. Next, spirituality. This might be for you a higher power, God, nature, the outdoors, whatever it is. What do you want there? Do you want to practice a kind of certain faith? Do you want to make your practice again in the outdoors? It's very important to have the spiritual connection to all the rest of these areas. What about your environment? And by this I mean, where do you live? What state, what country? Do you live in the city? Do you want to live in the country? Do you want to live in a ranch home? Do you want to live in a teepee? I don't know. What's the environment? How does it look for you? What do you want? What's there with you? And then finally, an area to consider is with a significant other, whether that's your spouse, friends with benefits, as I always say, whatever that might be. You might find that it gets real tough to make a list of 30 things. And gosh, that's only what, 3 or 4 in each area. When I ask you to make them non-negotiable, things that you really want, it can get difficult to write down what you truly want. And it's so important. All right then, you're going to want to take some time on this, but we'll go on. Step 2. Now we want to prioritize all of those wants that you had. We're going to mark them A, B, and C. I want you to get a slice of paper again, turn it on its side, and write the columns across the top, A, B, and C. And then you're going to go to work and take those wants and put them in the A, B, or C column. Now, the A's are things that you absolutely, positively, irrevocably want this year. They are non-negotiable. You must achieve them. B's are also absolutely non-negotiable, but not at the expense of the A's. So you see where the prioritization comes in. You put the A's over the B's. And then going on to C's, because certainly you took a lot of time making this list, and you don't want your C's to go away, for goodness sakes. C's are positively non-negotiable, but not at the expense of the B's. So by this time, you'd have a pretty good list of 10 things in each column. And again, don't worry. You don't have to put them away forever. Or let's say you come back to your list tomorrow and you say, why did I put that there? You can change these, no problem. So after your prioritization, step 3, and again, the vitally critical step. It's critical to getting results. I don't know how many times I started and stopped and started and stopped. And someone finally said to me, when are you going to decide to get these results that you've been planning for, dreaming of? When are you going to commit? So say yes to yourself and say yes to your commitment. I want to read you this quote here from William Hutchinson Murray. He was a mountaineer, prisoner of war. He wrote a lot of things while in prison. He loved to climb mountains. But this is what he said when talking about his Himalayan expedition. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Always ineffectiveness concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. And here's the truth, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. So true. Can't get to the other side of the mount without stepping off the one you're on. And he goes on to say, all sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision raising in one's favor, all manner of unforeseen events, meetings and material assistance, which no one could have dreamed would have come their way. Commitment. A little more on commitment, again, because it's just so important. Jane, didn't we just talk about this? Yes, and I'm going to keep talking about it. Bob Proctor is a great mentor of mine. Love his stuff. He says, many people out there will say they want something. few will actually believe that it is truly accessible to them. Fewer still will begin to take action towards reaching the goal, and fewer still will lay out a systematic plan involving several steps that will indeed allow them to achieve the goal. Then, even fewer will manage to stay on track with a sense of urgency as they move through the steps toward their goal. Now, doing all of those things, that's commitment. So thanks, Bob, for that. So I thought, well, let's turn that around so that we can be one of those few. So you want something and you commit to it. You believe it's accessible to you. Then you take action toward the goal, lay out the plan, and stay on track with a sense of urgency. The commitment, again, is your key. All right, let's talk about taking action. Step 4. So what do we have to have happen? What must we make happen for our wants to be achieved? So go back to the list where you wrote your A, B's, and C's, and then look at just the A's. Now, consider each one and write out the actions you will take for each that will catapult you toward the goal, and the goal is the want. Okay, so you take that out. For example, we wrote about having a strong and lean body. You take that one out. Now, I want you to think about and record what actions do you have to start doing to achieve that thing? What do you have to stop doing to achieve that thing? And what actions do you need to continue doing that perhaps you're doing now? So again, you take your wants, take one of the wants from A, your top one to start, and think about what you need to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing. Then when you have these actions down, form the habit, as Bob Proctor said, of urgent daily action, and then review it to see where you are and where you need to up your game. Make out a little sheet, and in a lot of my books and so forth, I have these action sheets that you can use, but I just picked one out here. So here's what it might look like. There's your one. And this one, I picked out more restful, full sleep, getting at least 7 hours of sleep each night, of course, by December 1st. That's the one. So things to start, eat more fiber and minerals. Just try to get 1 hour, then 2 hours, then 3. What else do we start? Start making a list of tomorrow's activities before going to sleep. Okay, actions to stop with this example. Stop drinking caffeine after 1 p.m. Stop watching the news before bedtime. And finally, some examples of actions to continue. Continue waking up to chimes, not the annoying buzzer, and finish my exercising at least an hour before retiring. So again, you can see it's not that relatively difficult to do. I think once you put this chart out for you and you think about what you have to start, stop, and continue, it'll come quite easily. And good luck with that. It'll really make a difference. Okay, Jane, what am I supposed to do first? I have this big list of things to do. I'm not sure what to do. So if you go back to the website where you first signed on for the key, you will find there a PDF file. It's called What to Do First. How to get, I think, how to get 83 extra hours, something like that. And I want you to go there and grab it. What it is the $25,000 personal management efficiency system. And this I pulled out of Think and Grow Rich. And you can see it there too. It was told by consultant Ivy Lee to Charles Schwab, the steel magnate. Schwab tried this formula and he implemented it throughout his company, and it worked. And these were in days gone by, huh? He remarked that if this method didn't work for you, nothing would. And he eventually paid Ivy Lee 25 grand for the advice. That was a lot in those times. So again, the report is back on the web page. After you clicked on the key, there were all those different links. So that's going to help you figure out what to do first. All right? And then finally, step 5, gain an attitude that leads to results. Now, I have a little success formula that I've been using for years, and here it is in short. Attitude and skills and knowledge plus goal setting leads to new habits and behaviors, those are your actions, and all that leads to new results. So, and I'll get into this in some of the other webinars, but let's think about if you're trying to get a new result, so you got to change something, and these are things that help you get it. It's goal setting, like we just did, and adding in your attitude, skills, and knowledge. So then look, if the skills are the how to do something and the knowledge is kind of a why to, we can say that our goals are what to do and the actions might be when to do them, just like we saw in the last screen, what shall I do first? Nonetheless, but I do propose that the most important part of this formula's success is the attitude. Attitude itself is the want to do it. Kind of falls in with commit, doesn't it? I'm going to commit to this. I want to do it. This is my attitude that I talked about earlier. Now, think about how you're bombarded on a daily basis. What we know is most of the things, and I show it here with this large yellow arrow, most of the stimuli we take in are negatives, aren't they? Someone did a study, I don't know, it's 85% or some odd thing of what we take in through our hearing, thoughts, smells, everything. It's negative stuff, all the news and all the carries on in our world today. We get about a little box here of the positive stuff. And this really can affect our attitude, the want to do things. So what are we going to do about it? Do we turn off? Do we go hide in a cave somewhere? No, we need you here with us. So I'll give you a couple tips here. Dilute the negative with positive. See this? Here's what we're doing. We're taking the negatives and turning them into positives. How do we do it? Well, let's look at this example of the paint. I'm going to say this can of paint used to be just white. Slowly and slowly we added real little tiny bits of red, and it ended up being a whole can of red paint. Now, that might seem like a strange example. However, what's going to happen is you're still going to get bombarded by the negatives. We're still going to have those day to day. Even if you do go live in a cave, there's going to be some negatives. So instead of trying to get rid of all the negatives, which there's the ways we can do that, let's add positives to the mix. And here's some ways to do that. Try meditating or just taking some quiet time. Listen to motivational tapes instead of the news on your radio. Read positive books. I'll tell you, all over the internet, there are more free downloadable ebooks and audios. So they're there. Give me a holler. I'll give you some links to those. I have some links on my own website. How about this one? Stay away from nasty people. That's one way to reduce these negatives. Of course, sometimes you can't because they're in your family and your workplace, and then you have to replace your thoughts. When those negative thoughts come in, you got to take them right back out again and replace it with something positive. Finally, how about hiring a genie? Sometimes we give ourselves negative thoughts, don't we? A lot of this stuff is our own input. So instead of saying to myself, oh my goodness, I'll never lose that 10 pounds. Because guess what? Your genie says, your wish is my command. You will never lose that 10 pounds. Those are your thoughts. Those are your self-conscious things talking to you. So hire a genie that turns that around. And as soon as you have a negative thought, thinking that, oh, I'll never lose these pounds. Nope. Change it and say, I am on my way to losing 10 pounds. And your genie inside says, yes, Jane, you are on your way to losing those pounds. But more on that later. Remember, if you choose your thoughts, you can choose your attitude. And attitude, again, was that most important part of the success formula that I showed you there. Same as the commitment. So we can see that attitudes are really habits. It's a habit of our thoughts, all the thoughts we're having and keeping. And guess what? Our thoughts turn into feelings, and our feelings turn into action. Now, but more on that later in another webinar. But for now, just know that you choose your thoughts, and you can accept or reject any idea that's presented to you. Any idea that's presented to you, you can accept or reject it. Once you do accept a thought, it goes right down into your self-conscious and causes your feelings about things. And your feelings then are going to show up outwardly as actions. So again, more on this in a later webinar, but just know that you can choose your thoughts every day, and they will help to choose and form your attitudes. Just a quick word on potential. You know, we lament that most of us don't use near the potential we have. Not near. Albert Einstein lamented he thought we didn't even use 2% of our potential. 2%. So treat a man the way he is, and he will remain so, and treat a man the way he can become, and he will be encouraged to become so. Now, this makes sense to us. A teacher that is very positive and treats students as if they're going to succeed, they do. Well, when do we ever give ourselves this gift? So please, treat yourself the way you are, and you'll remain so. But treat yourself the way you can become, and you will become so. So what's your next step? I got you moving on what you want, committing to it, and taking some action to write down actions that'll help you get there. Now, I don't want you to stall, so please keep coming back to the website. I'm going to have webinars posted every month, and come back and watch this one as well. I have some ebooks out on the site that'll help you. Just go to themillerinstitute.com, and you'll find them there. I also have a complimentary success review on the site that you can fill out, and I'll get that right back to you. Again, plenty of free reports and webinars there for your taking. I have this particular Achieve in 2012 in a really great ebook. It's over 200 pages long, and it includes worksheets and goal sheets and action planners for the whole year. And again, things like reviewing your results and having a strategy session with me or some other coach will really catapult you where you want to be so that you don't stall. Here at Miller Institute, I do the professional development based on skills like leadership and management and supervision and entrepreneurship and so on, and also have some personal development resources as well. Personal leadership, time management, if there is such a thing. And then finally, yes, coaching. And you'll be hearing a lot more about that in the next couple months. I'm going to kick that off in March, and we'll do some webinars on that and group sessions and move to one-on-one. And there I am. I should have put this picture up before so you could see a vision of me speaking to you. I'm in the Hershey area, so please feel free to give me a call as well at 717-507-0186 or see me on my website. And I thank you so much.